Happy Friday. This video here, I did a live stream on it. I got called to do something and I forgot to go ahead and upload it. So we're going to redo this live stream here. And this is coming from Game Rant. 5 classic characters Resident Evil 9 can bring back that aren't Chris Redfield. Resident Evil 9 starring Chris Redfield is a good bet at this point, but there are other characters Capcom could consider instead. I did not like his appearance, and you'll see in the thumbnail, Chris Redfield is in the, if you're a Resident Evil fan, you know what I'm talking about. Chris Redfield is on the image for the thumbnail. He's the one with the beard and stuff. I don't like that look for him. That is actually from Resident Evil Village, which I do own. I haven't really got too much gameplay in it. I got too many games to even play anyway. But anyways, we're gonna read the article here, and I did see who were the 5 mentionable ones, and we'll go ahead and read it. Resident Evil is currently in development, and fans speculate on which character will star, with Chris Redfield being a popular choice. However, there are other established characters that Capcom could choose instead. Ada Wong, Barry Burton, Maura McTaggart, Rebecca Chambers, and Billy Cohen. And Billy Cohen sounds very, very interesting, guys, because we haven't seen him since Resident Evil 0. Now it was a prequel to the original game, or the remake of the original game. Are all classic characters that could make a return in Resident Evil 9, bringing their unique personalities and stories to be forefront. Whether Resident Evil 9 uses a different protagonist is up in the air, which I hope they don't, because I did not like the Ethan Winters ones, and I own both of those. Just wasn't a big fan. But it would be refreshing to see someone other than Chris Redfield. It definitely would be. I'd love to see, and another one that's on this list I would love to see is Jill, and people are probably thinking, oh, we already saw her in the remake of Resident Evil 3. That was a remake of Resident Evil 3. We have not seen her since Resident Evil 5. That was the last time we actually saw Jill. That was in the main continuity of the story, because Resident Evil 3 is part of the continuity, but it's in a remake. Same thing goes for Ada Wong. Even though she was in Resident Evil 2, the original Resident Evil 2 remake, and Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 4 remake, I still think that they could pick somebody that hasn't been in a game in a while, which I would love to see. It says right here, Resident Evil can be said at this point to be the once and future king of survival horror. Capcom's semi-minimal series played a huge part in inventing, setting gender standards and remaining relevant for over 25 years. Though it sometimes stumbled and fell over favored during the course in recent times, Capcom has steered in the series back to being an industry leader. Starting with Resident Evil 7, which I did not like. Like I said, that was the Ethan Winters saga in 2017. The franchise forged a new path ahead by alternating between completely new titles and highly quality remakes of classic Resident Evil entries. Following the pattern, Resident Evil 9 is currently in development. As the next mainline title, there is a lot of speculation regarding it, especially which character Resident Evil 9 will star. After the events of 2021's Resident Evil Village, many fans have good reason to assume it will be Chris Redfield, who is arguably the face of the franchise. Now, Chris Redfield started it off, okay? But who else was there with him that you were able to play as? Jill Valentine was the other one that started off with him. So when I think of Resident Evil, I always think of Jill Valentine more than Chris, because Jill Valentine is my favorite over Chris. But I prefer Leon. I love Leon a lot. But to go and say that, Chris Redfield is the face of the franchise, I don't believe that's true. But I'll let people believe what they believe, and I respect what people believe. Following the pattern, Resident Evil 9 is currently in development as the next mainline title. There is a lot of speculation, since we already read that. Sometimes when I go ahead and talk, and it's hard for me to get back into the paragraph here, but just pardon me for a minute here. However, given how prevalent his use is and his sometimes widely shifting characterization, there are a few others Capcom could choose to go with instead. Well, we already know Ada Wong. Like I said, she just recently came back into the scene with Resident Evil 4 remake. So in the actual timeline, she was in Resident Evil 2, the original, Resident Evil 2, the remake, Resident Evil 4, the original, which was actually the where we last seen her at, and then Resident Evil 4 remake. So that was the last time we actually seen her was in Resident Evil 4, the original one for GameCube. I think it's too early to bring her back. I love the character, but I think it's too early. Barry Burton, his last appearance was in Resident Evil Revelations 2. I think it would be really cool to see him in Resident Evil 9, but then again, I think it's too early because Resident Evil Revelations has only been out for maybe about a couple of years now or so. I don't know the exact date when that came out, but I know it's been a couple of years. But we're talking about people that have not been in a game for a very, very, very long time. Barry is a grizzled veteran of the series, and in a way, is what Chris could eventually become himself as an older survival horror protagonist. Very strong parental instincts, fully displayed in Resident Evil Revelations 2, which was his last appearance, as he searched for his daughter. And not to mention, there's like an alternate ending in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, the original for PlayStation 1, where Barry rescues Jill and Carlos, I believe. And I forgot what his quote was. And then they got the heck out of Raccoon City before it blew up. Barry's strong potential instincts are fully displayed in Resident Evil 2 as he searched for his daughter Mora while encountering a strange girl with whom he couldn't help but also tried to rescue. This aspect makes him a solid choice to return to Resident Evil 9. And like I said, guys, go to Game Rant, go in the search box, type Resident Evil, and you'll find a whole bunch of Resident Evil news, and this is where I came up from with this. Now, this next character, obvious, is Mora Burton, one of Barry Burton's daughters. I don't know why they would put her on the list. I really don't. I mean, I think Claire Redfield should actually be allowed to come back. But then again, you look at it, she was her last official appearance was in Resident Evil Code Veronica. She came back in the Resident Evil world with the Resident Evil 2 remake. I honestly think, Mora is so. I think I would rather have Sherry Birkin, or maybe because Sherry Birkin was only in 2 and 6, but Mora Burton. I don't know. I don't really. I disagree with that pick right there. This next one, I would love to see, and I've been a big fan of this character since the original game, and then seeing her in Resident Evil and being able to play with her in Resident Evil 0, and that is none other than Rebecca Chambers. So this would be really awesome if they can bring her back, because we haven't seen her since the Resident Evil 1 game and Resident Evil 0. So most recent protagonist, his role was in Resident Evil 0, which was 2002. That was the year I graduated high school, guys. Rebecca was one of the members of the STARS team who investigated the Spencer Mansion in the original 1996 Resident Evil. She was a young, naive rookie at the point, though she still displayed exceptional skills and resourcefulness. Later, Rebecca was one of the two protagonists of Resident Evil 0, a prequel to the first game, where some of her backstory was further fleshed out. Having her return in Resident Evil 9 could show how Rebecca has grown and changed since. And I gotta tell you, she became one of my favorite characters, along with Jill Valentine, out of the females. It'd be a dream come true if they get her for Resident Evil 9. I'm telling you. And this other one here would be epic. And we're talking about her co-protagonist, Billy Cohen. He was only in Resident Evil 0, guys. Of course, in the original game, he was, there was no sequel to the original game, but there was a sequel to the a remake of the original game. If that makes sense. There was nothing ever mentioned about him. There was nothing ever mentioned about him in the later entries in the series. Most recent protagonist role was Resident Evil Zero. Billy may be one of the lesser-known Resident Evil protagonists, as his only appearance as such was in Resident Evil Zero, partnered with Rebecca. However, his dark horse status and currently unknown whereabouts in the overall story could serve as the next angle needed for Capcom to truly surprise players in Resident Evil 9 by bringing back Billy as its choice of hero. It would be epic, man. I'd be really down for that, to see him again. But I honestly think Maura Burton, they could replace her on this list and put Jill right there. That would be epic. That really would be. But then again, you look at that, and you got, Jill was already in a recent Resident Evil game. Yeah, that was the remake of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Her last official appearance in the actual main timeline, is in Resident Evil 5. Same thing with Chris Redfield. Her last main appearance was in Code Veronica. Either way, I honestly think that you take out Maura Burton out of this list, and put either Jill or Claire in it. But I would be more excited. The two that are on my list, the two that are on this list here, I'm very excited about. If Capcom would choose to do that, put them in 9, would be Rebecca Chambers and Billy Cohen. Definitely, man, out of the question, because those two have been out of the game scene for a very, very long time. Of course, Billy Cohen's only appearance was in Zero. But other than that, that is it, guys. You let me know. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with this top 5 for Capcom? What Capcom could do with putting some of these top 5 in Resident Evil 9. I would love to see Rebecca and Billy. Definitely that would be really, really epic. Because it's been years, man. It's been years. But other than that, guys, that is great. And this is Oracle signing off, and have a happy and great, safe start of your weekend. Bye-bye.